Hey guys, welcome back to the Perfect Double for episode number 7. Today we got a special guest with us, Matt from the New England area. He's one of my buddies who's been training and shooting everybody up in the Northeast area. He's been killing it. So without further ado, I'll let Matt tell you a little bit about himself if you don't know him and what he's about.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. My name is Matt Gay. I have a training company, MG Training, also partnered with Angel Sanchez and PPG Paradigm Performance Group. I'm
hmm
from obviously the New England area, live in Massachusetts. Been shooting this my 4th year shooting now and competing. So yeah, just trying to learn as much as I can and spread the good word. I do medical sales in my 9 to 5. So other than that, I just shoot on the time that I can, train when I can, and get after it in the sport.
Dude, that's awesome. So we like to hear. So what have you guys been up to the last week shooting wise?
Yeah, so a lot of teaching. I have a few like regular weekly students that I'll take like during the week, but also just gearing up for the start of the season. We just had our first major match this past weekend, so my past few weeks has really just been gearing up for that. I mean, we were same with you guys too. I'm sure you guys got hit with a bunch of snow in the winter, but we had like 3 feet of snow down here. So in January and February, there wasn't much shooting that could be done. So there's just a lot of dry fire. Once March hit, it was off to the races, trying to ramp up through the winter, get ready. Got a pretty large and busy schedule this year to start ramping up for. And once I'm shooting majors every month and matches every week, it's tough to do large ramp up weekends. So yeah, just I'm shooting every probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday, dry firing every day, shooting a match on the weekend when I can, teaching a class. That's pretty much the rotation.
There you go. And we also shot New England sectional this weekend, right?
Yeah.
That was the first major. I mean, technically second major for me, but the first like USPSA major for the season.
hmm
Did you shoot anything else besides that match this year so far? Or do you travel? I know Angel travels quite a bit. Shout out to Angel for being a monster out there. But
He doesn't stop. He like spent all of January and February. He was like, I was like, yeah, there's not like I would bring a shovel on the days my car could get into the range, dig a spot and shoot stationary. I left target stands out there before it snowed, so that way the sticks were up, and I would just go and staple a target up and stand in one spot. But he's like, nah, screw that. I'm flying down to Florida for a week, and I'll just go shoot down there. Uh, I can't do that, so that didn't happen. But yeah, he's a little different. But that was my second match of the year. I shot one in New Hampshire, a local match, a few weeks before, with a lot of the same guys that we shot with, and then just went right into the first major of the year, second match of the year.
there we go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Marcus,
Yeah, so I mean, Matt, I'm actually up in Buffalo, Rochester area. So snow, you got 3 feet. I think for the winter we had something like 10 feet of snow up here.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
inundated. So I mean, the funny thing about that is we have preparation for that in the basements and closed halls that we shoot in for the wintertime. And it gets you out of practice with shooting good angles and things like that. You're basically shooting targets along a backstop. You can work movement and some of those things, but it's a world of difference when you get back outside and gotta shoot at 25-yard steel and long targets again. I got a little bit of that in this weekend, getting a chance to shoot some long targets again, and it was uh, I threw a few more deltas than I would have liked, but it's always fun getting your eyes back adjusted to the sunshine and getting out of there. Now I would like to ask, I'm newer at this. I haven't really shot any majors. I shot some big matches. I shot Puerto Rico and I shot a match in Aruba, so some exotic stuff, if you will.
Nice.
I would like to know, with someone seasoned like yourself, what do you do when you want to when you're getting ready, when you're mid-season, you're getting ready for a major match?
Yeah, I mean, a big thing for me is like actually making a plan. A lot of people like you'll see posts on the internet like the weekend before, like, oh, I'm getting ready for whatever major. Um, but you really have to prepare for much longer. Like, and nothing really replaces live fire. Obviously, dry firing 6 days a week, 5 days a week, but ramping up your live fire before is a huge help. Especially like I like probably 2 weeks before a major. I'm just doing stuff that makes me feel really good about myself. Because normally my training is like really tough. Like I like struggle a lot in training because I'm pushing the things I'm weak at or the things that I'm good at. I'm really pushing to the limit. But anytime I'm ramping up for a major match, 2 weeks before, I'm setting up like really easy practices where I'm going and I'm just crushing it. I'm feeling good. Like I'm practicing the things I'm really good at. When you get the match book, I'll just quickly look at it and say like, is there anything in there that I'm not practicing like all the time? Like strong hand only, or like unloaded starts. Like, is there some weird seated shooting or something odd like that where it's like, sure, I may practice it every once in a while, but it's not like an everyday 10 minutes a day kind of thing. I'll start to add those into my training. But other than that, you should have that work already put in leading up. But the 2 weeks before is really just building confidence, shooting live fire. So that way, a live round going off in your hands isn't the first time it's happening in a while at the major match. I'm very comfortable and confident going into the match. And then, because for example, like this major we had this weekend, right? There's a strong hand only stage. It wasn't our squad that people said this, but I'm sure you go to a lot of the squads and they're like, oh my God, it's the strong hand only stage. I'm going to suck at this. And it's like, for the people that practice that going in, it's like, well, I'm prepared. Like, I'm just going to go shoot this like I normally would. But that's going to make a huge gap for a lot of people because on weird stages like that, they're not prepared. They're going into a match and, they'll lose it because they're not prepared going in. They're nervous. They're not confident in their ability. Shot strong hand only since, the major they did last year. So I'm kind of long run around answer, but making sure you prepare for the weird things you're not usually shooting, build your confidence 2 weeks before, and really working on in your off season where your weaknesses are and shooting a good amount of live fire and dry firing consistently.
Now, the one thing that I feel like always gives a lot of shooters trouble, even locally, is one of the match directors. He always picks a stage where you got to load from the barrel, and for whatever reason, when the mags aren't coming off the belt, guys seem to fall apart. And knowing they got to pick, especially up here, we got with the 10-round mags. That means you're going to 3, maybe 4 barrels to pick up magazines, and left hand shooting. I feel like a lot of guys don't shoot with their left hand until it comes up in a match and they got to shoot with their left hand or their weak hand rather.
Yeah, that's the last time you want to figure out that you should have been practicing it before that is when you fire your first shot and you're like, my dot's moving crazy or I have no idea how to hold this gun. Like, yeah, you should have that well figured out and ironed out before the match.
I mean, this past weekend, the match was great. I mean, I know we both shot at not the same squad, but we shot at the same day. I want to shout out Kyle too, because Kyle does a great job of building some cool stages that are just always interesting. Except for that boat stage, fuck the boat. I'm very much anti-boat now because I ate shit falling out of the boat. Dude, I ate it falling out of the boat, but they gave me the reshoot because Dan stopped me really quickly. Shout out to Dan for being a great RO and like actually concerned for my well-being, bro. But I literally hit the ground so hard and my body's aching today. But other than that, everything else is fucking fantastic.
Oh, you're lucky he stopped it. That would have been brutal if you had to zero it.
Oh, dude, he was so shook, and I just remember seeing his face and everybody else's, and I felt my knee was on fire, bro. I was like, Jesus Christ! And thankfully, lunch was like right after that, so I was able to like take some time to like collect myself, pop some Advil, and like just stretch, and make sure the gun was okay.
Angel, he was talking to me after he showed me the video because we rode up together, and I was dying. He's like, I'm gonna trip out of this boat if I run out. He jumped on top of the platform on the boat and just shot off where you picked up the gun from.
But he told me that. I'm like, bro, I'm 260, man. Like, I'm gonna break this little fucking flimsy ass board, bro. I can't do that.
I mean, he's probably 200 pounds, 1.9. Yeah, probably 200.
Yeah, but his, Angel's a compact Habibi. I'm like the XL tall version who's gonna like break that shit and fall backwards.
Well, it was pretty funny to watch him shoot that on the video, but I was not
Ugh.
expecting anyone to do that. I guess I just jumped out and ran. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I was not rushing it, but I was shooting it very. I shot PT this match, even though I usually shoot pistol. So my whole year of shooting, I'm not sure if I'm doing it for all majors, but for most of the majors, I want to shoot PCC and just really learn the movement and the vision processing. Just because, I'm in New York, so unfortunately, if you're shooting New York matches, you're only doing every 10 rounds, and you got to reload or think about a different sequencing or some other nonsense that's not applicable to like most majors
Brutal.
and most stages outside of the area. Long story short, I was like trying to use that to really like figure out where I'm at standing wise. And I shoot pistol actually better than I shoot rifle, surprisingly. So hopefully that'll change or not change. Hopefully that'll keep on the trend and I'll just be getting better at both. But it was very enlightening to see how much work paid off for this match. And again, shout out to Kyle for running a great match with the stages and everything like that. Shout out to Sig for hosting these matches. That was the first New England sectional they've ever had, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first one.
Mark's gonna come up there next time, bring some Buffalo
Yeah,
guys because that
they
match is
got they
awesome,
got
dude.
It was fun. Yeah, they do a good job. They redid a bunch of the bays too, which
the
was
guy.
interesting.
Didn't they make them shorter? I feel like they were longer last year. I think Kyle was
A
telling me
lot of the
that.
guys I shot with on Sunday were asking about it.
They lengthened a couple of them.
The New England sectional. Yeah, dude. I mean, Matt, do you travel a lot for majors? What's your major experience been like the last couple of years?
I travel a decent amount. Yeah, I shoot Area 6. I want to shoot the Nationals this year if I can get in. Um, I go to Tennessee a few times a year. Yeah, those are the consistent ones that I'll go to. I'm lucky that in New England we have like 6 or 7 majors this year, like that I can drive to, which is obviously it's nice. I mean, most people don't have that. I can drive to six major matches, and I'll fly to another 4 or 6 more depending on what I can get into. I mean, there's 12 major matches in a year. That pretty much fills up. I'll be shooting almost every other week once the season starts at a major match, so it's not much more I can fill in. Hopefully they keep it up. I know the Triple Crown matches this year are going to be really fun, and that's 3 more level 2s in New England, so it'll be a great addition.
Dude, I wanted to shoot those, but my schedule didn't work out. I was already shooting like other majors, and I was like, it's just too much with the work schedule. Trying to balance it out, it didn't work out for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, they overlapped on some. Like I know Area 8 overlapped on one of them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Tennessee match as well. I don't think it was a level 2. It was, what is it called? The Southeast Law Enforcement Handgun Classic in Tennessee. Lined up with one of those. I was going to travel to shoot that. Going to shoot the other LE match that's just closer now. But yeah, it'll be fun. It's a pretty packed year. We'll see. Hopefully I can get into nationals. I'm hoping to shoot race gun and factory gun nats this year, depending on what I can get in.
Dude, we got into factory gun nats. I wanted to do race gun as well, but I don't think I'll get it this year, which is fine. I'll have to earn my spot. So hopefully I can get into Area 7. I unfortunately missed that sign up, but I was talking to the match director and I was like, what's the wait list like? He's like, you're up there. I'm like, well, I'll keep on crossing my fingers and hoping I get in. So,
Yeah, I'm not in Area 7 either. I'm waitlisted.
dude, it's so brutal. And I feel, I was talking to, I don't know if you know Josh, do you ever listen to the Stage Brief podcast?
No.
So those guys, it's Josh Morgan and Dave and Double Tap Shooting guys, all of those guys, shout out to them. But they do a really good podcast. I'll send you the link to it after this. But I was talking to Josh, who I speak to pretty frequently, and he was telling me that in Area 7 specifically, there's not as much heat just because of the fact that we have so many restricted states in our area. And I was like, I don't know about that. I feel like we have some pretty good shooters. And I was trying to think about like the GMs we have. And obviously we have Mason. We have, a bunch of guys like David's up here, a whole bunch of other guys that were up there this weekend, Kyle. And people are well on their way. Like you're on your way. Angel's on his way. Hopefully I'll be there relatively soon too. But like, we got some heat in Area 7. I feel like,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
would
I mean, you
agree.
shot more.
Area 7, especially the past 2 years, has been like really competitive. Like in every division, there are some really, really good shooters. So I don't know. I'd be willing to put Area 7 against most of them. That's if everyone shows up to shoot. Thing is, a lot of times like guys will like go somewhere else to shoot because we shoot at SIG all the time. Yeah, it also depends who travels. I know Tom Castro traveled last year, which was fun. JB will shoot it. He's from Maine, so he's from New England. He'll come and shoot. So it really it depends who shows because a lot of the top guys they'll shoot a lot of nationals. That's it.
Yeah, especially in area. I feel like because those guys are in area 8, and I'm in New York, and then they're close. They're closer to me than actually to you. Like it's easier for me to go to PA than it is to go to New Hampshire / like the Boston area. So like I will go out there, and dude, area 8's packing some serious heat. Besides the double tap guys, like you got Brian Weiss, you got Wes Corin, you got all the guys who shoot out there, Matt Hempel, Chris Galante, like all those guys are monsters, bro. It's nuts. Even Sam's out there, obviously, as you know.
Yeah, there's pretty much heat everywhere you go. I mean, winning an area match, no matter what area it is, I mean, there's a reason why it's such a significant feat. You're not gonna, unless you're shooting like some Ironside division or something like that. There's gonna be a good shooter if you're shooting in limited optics or carry optics, open. Like, there's gonna be someone very,
So you're
very
saying I
good
should
there.
come out there and shoot limited 10?
Do you find that even at your low? I mean, yeah, you definitely should, bro. I support
I'm
Justin
used
season.
to I'm used to the 10
There's
round
no
mags
way I
already.
should.
Come out shoot limited 10 and major power factor and 10 millimeter.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare. Not gonna lie, I'll come out and shoot with you guys, but I don't know if I'll be shooting 10 round mags and limited 10. That's
We
wild.
have a few people that do it.
Nah, man. I mean, Lips is the
Yeah,
bigger match for us
we have
here
a
in New
few people
York.
that do it at every match, or usually it's one or two guys. And it always hits you up after the match. You know, I won my division. I'm like, oh, did you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the funny prize. Rob is going to start coming up to our area to train with us on Fridays every now and again. And that's the biggest thing with him. He's like, the matches aren't worth it for me anymore because the things I'm trying to get better at, like at majors, I can't practice the same thing there because I'm limited. Like I can't work blending positions really. It's a game of whoever can obviously shoot good points and reload the fastest because you have a reload out of each position, which is it's unfortunate. You guys are behind enemy lines. So am I, but at least
No,
we get away with some things.
Yeah, and you're also closer to like all the big matches in New Hampshire too, right?
Yeah, I mean it's still like for me to get to SIG, it's 2.5 hours. So it's a drive, but it's nothing. I'd get a hotel for. It's doable
yeah,
in a day for sure.
we shoot at a PA club that's closest to us in Buffalo and Rochester. It's about 2.5 hours from me here in Rochester, and they usually do a 5 or 6 stage match, a morning and an afternoon. In order to make it worth the ride, we'll usually shoot both sessions. Um, just so because me and Sammy were kind of talking about that right before we fired up the podcast, that getting a flow for stages and blending positions and shooting with some more aggression is super difficult when you have to change a mag every few steps, or at each position you're changing the mag. Like I look at some of my videos and I'll shoot 6 shots to change a mag because I'm going into a string of 8, and I'm changing them. I'm dropping mags full of bullets because I have to have enough for the next string to make it make sense, or your entire stage plan is different than it would be with a full mag. So it makes it super important to get out of town, get to PA, to go other places and try to shoot those matches, because even mentally I feel like before I was even used to going to some of those places, to going out of town where I could shoot standard capacity magazines, I had a tendency to want to drop the mag, or to want, as soon as I'm moving, I'm wanting to drop the mag because I'm so used to, no matter what it was, I was dropping the mag because my feet were moving, because I had to get ready for the next string. So it affects your ability to shoot sooner, affects your ability to be aggressive, it affects your ability to blend positions. So it's a real thing, for shooters in our area, and trying to overcome it without enough practice is definitely difficult.
You guys can move, right?
I mean, yeah, but when you own all your businesses in one area, bro, it's hard to move out of the state.
Dude, I get it. I'm making fun of you all in the same predicament. So yeah, no, I get it. It's tough. It'd be nice if you guys could
Dude,
just all pull together and show up with real magazines and
wouldn't it?
not telling each other, or not
I
have to
dude, I
worry about it.
wish.
My mom lives in
But
North
oh
Carolina.
well,
I'm looking.
I guess that's a topic for
Yeah.
not when it's recording.
My mom lives in North Carolina, and I shot a few matches down there, and I'm liking it more every time I go back home to visit. So if I might end up back down there in the next year or so.
Smart move.
If that's the case, Marcus, I'm coming and crashing on your couch,
Anytime,
bro. I'm telling you now.
anytime. So Matt, talk to me about your
No, but dude, I I love the area that.
Matt. Talk to me about your rig. What do you shoot? Carry optics. What do you shoot? Limited optics. What's your go to firearm?
Yeah, so I shoot Care Optics right now with just a steel frame Walther PDP. And I'm having a GP Arms 2011 built for LO that I'll probably end up shooting the majority of the season, depending on what nationals I get in. Obviously, Race Gun Nationals is first, so I'm on the wait list. I'm pretty high on it, so I feel like I'll probably get in. So I'm playing like I'm shooting that. Hopefully, I'll have that 2011 finished building in, I don't know, a few weeks. I got the rig already set up to go. I'm just kind of waiting on it. Been training with Angel. Obviously, he shoots for GP Arms, so I've been training with some of his backups already. So it should be a seamless transition. But yeah, I mean that's really it. Carry Optics, Walther PDP steel frame, and soon to be GP Arms 2011 for LO.
I'm in the same boat, except I'm shooting the Walters as well, obviously for CO. Then I'm shooting. I think I'll be shooting the cores once I get them in. I just got the permits back actually, Marcus, today,
Can't
so I should be
wait.
able to pick them up tomorrow in record time.
Can't wait to see it. I want to see the reviews.
Yeah, as long as my gear runs, that's all I really care about.
Awesome.
So Matt, tell us more about like your, because you're big on social media. Like you're always a social media guy. Everybody knows you from social media. Also, you're shooting, but like a lot of guys in the area know you from the videos. Like the one you did with Christian was huge. The J Beal one's huge. Tom Castro one was like obviously one of your first ones, and that was one of my favorite ones too. Like, how did you get started? How did you meet all those guys? Tell us more about your social media slash like branding of your own accord. Like, how did you start that? What's your plan with that too going forward?
Yeah, so I started the podcast. I mean, I just like to talk. I talk for a living, technically. So I was like, a lot of these guys I already know. Also, when I started teaching, my biggest goal is just to build the strongest firearms community as I could. And I figured if I start a podcast, I can reach way more people and help them than I can, training one-on-one on the range, every once in a while. So I started that. Obviously, I'm also on the board for my local club, and so is Angel. So we host a lot of instructors throughout the year and have other opportunities for people to take classes that aren't taught by us. So most of my guests are people that I've hosted and brought to my range to teach and just connected with that way. Or they're people I've shot with and just know personally. And obviously there's some of the greatest minds in our sport. Most of the people on there either super squad level shooters or on the world team, very high level. So the biggest thing I want to know, because obviously as we're all progressing, is what are they doing that's different than us? Like that's the biggest question I know everyone asks is like they look at any of the shooters that you just named and they're like, I want to do that or better. What are they doing that's different than me? I feel like I'm putting in all the work in the world. And I wanted to find those answers to those questions. So the big thing with me is I just knew a lot of them outside of obviously social media because I've either shot with them or trained with them. And then it kind of grew to the point where after that, I would see them watching live. So when I was talking to some of these people, other of my guests would be, either in the comments or I'd see them pop up and I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool person to talk to next. I'll reach out to them since they're familiar with the episodes in the podcast already. Yeah, I mean, that's how that started. Social media is really just, it's fun. I mean, it's also how I help brand as well, with advertising classes, advertising stuff for my range, whether it be other instructors, posting match videos, stuff like that. Keeping in touch with the community is the easiest way. And then, yeah, I mean, that's really it. And then it's kind of just really grown from there, like a lot over the past probably year and a half.
Do you have any other plans going forward in terms of like wanting to do more, like, because I know you're doing a lot of classes up in the New England area. Do you want to travel more for classes, kind of like what not like what Stoger does, but like kind of like what Rob does, where he's traveling to all these different states, or like Wempler?
Yeah, I have a few classes on the book already. I'm teaching one with Sam Callahan up in Pennsylvania at the end of May.
Hmm.
I'm coordinating another one in South Carolina right now for a class with just me up in, I want to say it's Clinton, South Carolina. Um, and then all my other ones are in Granby. I mean, the nice part about it is like trying to fill a class with a host is not always the easiest thing, especially if it's an area you don't have connections with the range. Because
Hmm.
oftentimes it's dealing with logistics with the club, what their fees are, booking the bay, the time, the insurances. They're all different, and coordinating and takes a while. The easy thing for me is being on the board of directors at my club is if I want to book a class, I go into the calendar and book it. And then all I have to do is advertise and fill it. I'm not looking to make teaching my full-time gig as of now. So it's one of those things where if I can fill one class a month or, one class every other month, I'm fine with it. It's not paying my bills. I'm more doing it for the love of the game and, teaching people how to shoot and, answering the questions I can and reaching as many people as possible, to make them better. So, I would like to travel more. It's just if people come and ask me, they can Instagram DM me and we can see if we can make it work. But other than that, I'm in a pretty good spot locally where teaching a class at my home club is very easy for me to set up and inexpensive.
And you're also well known in the area too. Like everybody who I talk to up there, like they all know you. Everybody says great things about you. So like again, you have that following up there where it's never easy to fill a class, but like again, you're well respected and you're obviously doing really well. Just from this past weekend where you did really well as well. I'm just looking at this. I'm looking at the standings because I didn't look at it too much in terms of like the holistic view of it, but you did really well, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I put a lot of work over the winter. It was cool to see. I just I shot super conservative. I just went out there and I was like, I'm not going to try and do anything crazy. I'm just going to see what my very calm baseline is from the winter of not shooting any matches, and then use it as homework. I'm just going to use that major as practice, take what I can learn from it, and further structure my training going forward. The tough thing without shooting a lot of matches, it's hard to see like where the next steps are. I practice mostly just my fundamentals. It's probably
Hmm.
80% of my practice or more, but having a match shows you a lot of like the very specific things that you may not be repping out all the time. Or it gives you reminders of like, hey, maybe you're not really that guy, when it comes to this scenario. Like you should probably be practicing this because the tough thing with dry fire is I tend to like inflate my confidence. I'm like, oh, this is going great in dry fire, or I'm feeling really good on this, and then I'll go shoot it live in practice, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's not 100% there as what I thought it was in dry fire, and then the match is like that on steroids. Especially like I can execute it fine, but then when I'm going against people that are going to be top level national shooters, you start to realize I need this at another level. What I was practicing is not good enough, even if I can do it 10 out of 10 times. I need to push to the next level and get that speed up. So yeah, the match was all right. I think I came in like 9th for carry optics. But
And a stacked field, bro. I'm looking at it right now. This was a really solid field.
yeah, I mean, the squad I was shooting in was tough. I mean, everyone was going at it, which was really fun. It wasn't like when someone was up, it was see if my placement holds with this one. Let's see how it stacks up against people that will probably be winning the match. Which it was awesome. It showed me where I'm at. I shot decent points. I think I shot not above 90% points, I'm assuming, and my time was behind. I think I was well behind pace. Had some equipment issues for a handful of stages. Other than that, it gave me a really good test at where I need to be pushing in my training, which I'm going to be going through all the footage probably tomorrow or Wednesday and reevaluating my training plan going forward to prep up for my next major.
So if the guys who don't know, Matt's a master. He made it, I think, last season, right? End of last season?
I made it at the beginning of last year.
Oh, beginning of last year. Okay.
Yeah, it's my
So, but
first. I think it was my first match of last year.
sure. So you've been a master for a while. I made my MasterCard in LO and CO and then PCC recently, all within last year too. I'm closing in on the GM level. But dude, as I'm entering that next threshold, it's been this way even since I was an A-class shooter. I feel like, especially at the higher levels, dude, like let's say you're an M, the disparity of skill in M is huge. And then even at GM, it's even larger of a gap, bro. I've been like, you watch Jay Beal, you watch like David Jang, I watched him shoot a couple of stages.
He's crazy.
And he's a monster, man. I'm like, I just picked up the PC like 4 or 5 months ago, like officially, and I'm watching him shoot the same rig that I basically have, and I'm like, I didn't know that was physically possible.
It's fun to shoot with him. We shoot a lot of locals together. He's a crazy man. He tries to give me some stage plans sometimes, and I'm like, there's no way I do that, dude. Like, he's like, like this weekend, that 38 round stage. You know how there's on the top right side, there was that no shoot and then the hard lean for that open that you could also see from the start. He was like, I'm just going to run here and stick my barrel around and just shoot two. Or I'll just like jump and hold the gun out and shoot. I'm like, why would I ever do that? But he'd probably do something like that because he's wild. But he's also like a top level grandmaster in PCC.
Yeah, I think he came top 20 last year in nationals, and then I was talking to Dennis about him, and I was like, yeah, he's definitely the top guy at that match for me to watch because I was like, damn, that man is so good, like filthy, man. I was like, super nice too, but I was like, dude, I couldn't comprehend it. But even the same thing with like Mason and like even Ashton, right? So I saw with Ashton and Israel, who are both top G. Like Israel's that master just because he's not enough classifiers, but he will be a GM this year. I'm calling it now. But Ashton, the same thing. Like I was watching those two shoot, and I was like, the things that they're doing seem so simple, but yet it's so far like it's getting closer to my skill level of like understanding and being able to replicate some of it. But like even watching some of Mason and like Christian's videos, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm so far behind.
Yeah, I mean they're on another level. I mean statistically, they're the top 5% of what's possible with a handgun. Statistically speaking.
Well, it's simple, but it's not easy, right?
They're also world champions. I mean, you're looking at the best. Right. Yeah, it's one of those things where like there's not many sports where you get to have like as much insight at what like the very best in the world are doing on a daily basis. Like if you look at any other professional sport, you have no idea what that professional is doing day to day on training, like matches. Like we follow all these people on Instagram as like we know like their daily life, but other professional athletes, it's like we don't know them. You know what I mean? You look at like an NBA player, we have no idea what they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Well,
so we have a very different insight on what like world champions are doing day to day, which is it's good for us, obviously, and that's why people excel in this sport so fast. It's just a weird perspective that's definitely humbling. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're good. If anything, we can just keep on talking. He'll come in eventually, but and that's how Riverside will edit him out of this, which will be fun to see.
It seems like he's talking and really into it right now, which I feel bad.
I know.
It's
We'll
not
bring
even,
it back to him, dude. Yeah, see, he disconnected. He'll pop back in.
all right,
But I do want
cool.
to talk more about like so. I mean, I met you. You shot the 320s. We're shooting Walters now, and then the next thing will be obviously the 2011s. And I was talking to Mason about this, I think, or I was talking to Rob. Somebody was. I was probably both of them actually. But LO seems to be the next big division, right? Like it's gonna be the biggest heat probably. I'm
Yeah.
assuming so. Right now, the numbers aren't proving out to be that way 100%, but they're getting very close to that. Do you think LO is the new thing, and that we're all going to be shooting LO in the next like year or so?
Yeah, I think CO and LO are really the same division, to be honest. I wish they would just combine it so we could all shoot against each other and be a little bit more competitive. But I think once IPSC like really nails down LO as a division, I think it's just preliminary right now.
Hmm. Yeah, they
I
call it
think
optics.
I think once that's fully in IPSC, I think worldwide it'll be the most popular division. I think if you go, I was talking to Mason a little bit. Irons is like the biggest division overseas or like in IPSC because
Hmm.
production optics is kind of weird. Um, it's cool, but like you can't do anything to your firearm, and you're capped at 15 rounds. It's much more restrictive than our carry optics. But I think once optics or limited optics becomes IPSC a legit division, I think that's when you will see a lot of people because I think Eric is going to be shooting limited optics as well. Um, I know I have a feeling Christian wants to shoot limited optics. So once the majority of the top contenders shoot that division, people will naturally follow. I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to shoot against the best competition. I have a feeling limited optics is going to be that division within the next few years.
I mean, that's what I'm doing, right? That's why I shoot. Actually, I just have a gun problem, but that's why I shoot multiple divisions in general. But I usually, see which division has the most heat, and I kind of go with that one if I can.
Yeah, that I'll probably still bounce back and forth from carry optics and limited optics. The tough thing is like it's the same thing. We're shooting a minor dot gun. Um, I
But the
mean,
same capacity too. There's like no difference besides the magwell, and this
and
thing will action only. But
even
that's
that doesn't really make any difference. The magwell is not really going to help you at all. It add a little bit of weight to the center line of the gun, but I mean, if you know how to reload well, you shouldn't really need a magwell at all. I mean, it may help if you have a minor miss, may make it a little bit more consistent, but it's not going to make you faster at reloading per se. It just might clean it up a tad if you have like a minor fumble. But yeah, I don't think there's much advantage. They are more capable platforms. You probably get a little bit more accuracy out of my guess, but most people are out shooting the accuracy of a stock whatever carry optics guns. I don't know. They look cooler. They typically shoot a little bit faster. But
Mhm.
other than that, to me, we're all shooting minor 9 millimeter dot guns. I don't pay too much mind into it at all.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I'm feeling what you're putting down.
Yeah, I mean the guy,
Part.
and look, the shooting is the shooting. The guys that are coming in that come in the top five at our local matches in the area, whether they're shooting a Glock or a clapped out Sig or an open gun, they're always coming in at the top because it's the other things that they're doing that are important, right? It's not this triggers a little bit more than that, or I'm still growing in my skills and abilities. So yes, the magwell means a lot to me because on my MPA. I can reload it faster than I shoot my CZ carry optics, My CZ, when I'm reloading, it takes a little more focus because it's got a skinny magwell. But see, when I was in Aruba shooting IPSC, CZs were super popular. They were running them in production, standard optics, carry optics. That was the gun of choice for a lot of folks there. Or it was the Shadow 2 and the guys were shooting Shadow 2, PO1, and a CZ75. I think were real big when I was in Aruba. A lot of the Dutch guys down there. I actually shot with the owner of CZC. Was a interesting cat. But Sammy talked about it last week. If you instituted IPSC rules and carry optics, I think and USPSA, I think that would make things a little bit more interesting. Maybe not people still going to adjust triggers and springs and things of that nature, but I think with some magazine capacities and adjustments like they do in IPSC. I think it makes it. I think it changes it enough to keep it interesting, so that you're not eliminating a complete division. But what do we have? We got a Grandmaster steel shooter that signed up for his very first match was an all classifier match, and he came out of the gate master. So he
Nice.
came out of the gate. First six stages that he shot, he M'd them. Obviously steel shooters have great fundamentals, right? There's a lot of precision in steel challenge shooting. He came out of the gate an M. Now, is that an indictment on the classification process, or is it just the guy's phenomenal with the with his gun handling? Now, he came his first couple matches, placed in the top 10 immediately because a grandmaster steel shooter, he can handle a pistol, period. I'd like to get your thoughts on the classification system, how they work, and what you think of them overall.
Yeah, I think it's people put more weight into it than they probably should. I look at it like how a lot of people look at certifications, right? Like, doesn't matter. I don't know. Let's show up to the major match and see how it plays out. It's really the only way to track how people are ranked nationally, other than just go shoot a nationals and see, or go shoot a major match. I don't put too much mind in it. Honestly, it's way cooler if you're B class and then you go like win an area match, not B class, but like legit just win an area match or like play the top 10. That's honestly way cooler. Also, I think it's overrated too, because you'll get to M or you get to GM, and now good luck getting a spot for nationals. Like now it's just like a million times harder for you. Where it'd be like honestly really cool to stay in B class and just always win B class and then always get a spot at nationals. Obviously that's pretty lame to do that, but
Yeah,
it's a good way. But yeah,
I mean, that's how I got my
I don't
spot.
pay
That's how I got my
put too
spot this
much
year to
mind into it.
factory gun.
I shoot my matches. I perform the best I can. I train. If I shoot a class fire or I get a match bump, I'm not over trying or under trying for it. If a letter comes with how I'm performing, cool. I deserved it. I typically won't shoot class fire matches or stuff like that. I'm chasing match performance and becoming a better shooter. That's where my mind's at. If GM
absolutely.
comes, cool. I'll take it. I'm not gonna leave the match. But I think it looks way cooler to place really well at an area match or a major match than to have like a grandmaster card and then shoot 75% in your division at a major. That's my way of thinking about it. I'm not hating on anyone that is trying to get grandmaster or anything like that. I mean, that's hard to get. You're not going to get that by mistake unless you're paying for classifiers. But yeah, I mean, either way you get it, it's not easy.
I 100% agree. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to perform on demand to a point where I could get a GM card. That hasn't been something that my first year I did shoot a classifier match at the end of the year and made Class A and carry optics, and that was my goal because my stupid friends at the armory told me, "Oh, we don't think you can do it." at the beginning of the season. I was like, okay, so now I gotta, so now that's the goal. I got to try and do it. But I 100%. I mean, trying to give your best effort, shoot your game, and do what you can to place high at a match, which I think is the goal for every serious shooter. That to try to see if they can be better than they were at their last big match, or better than they were last week. I think Sammy and me had a guy ask us, hey, what brings you out? What keeps you coming back to the table? What takes you to the range 5, 6 days a week trying to get out there? And it's the honest answer is, can I be better than the guy that I was last week at the shooting, at the other things I'm doing in my life? Can I continue to grow in that direction and be the best that I can? And this is a small modicum of that, where I get to go out there, try, give it my best, see the things that I've been doing in the week to improve, and see, am I getting that 1% that I'm trying to promise myself every week, and improvement.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends what you're coming in the game for. Like, there is a large majority of people that come in USBSA because of the social event, and they just want to say they're better than their friends at shooting.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's totally fine. I mean, that's fun. I go to a lot of locals because it's fun and I get to hang out with my friends. But there's also the other side where there's a lot of people competing. Like, I want to win an area match, or I want to win a state match, or I want to win a national match. And the letter does not matter to win that match. You can be unclassified and win nationals. So, like that's the way I look at it. Is if a letter comes because I shoot either enough classifiers or I get it at a match bump, cool, it's there. But it's not the reason why I'm training. But that's not to say if someone is training for a letter because it's cool, or they want to stick it to their friends and laugh at them for being a lower class
Yeah.
classification, then then that's all game. I mean, that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I find myself in it for all of those reasons, kind of simultaneously. Obviously, I want to try to be great, but the camaraderie that I've gotten from shooting this sport, and spending time with the guys, it makes the matches fun for sure. The time, I mean, but then there's the time I spend by myself, drilling till my hands bleed, trying to figure this thing out that I couldn't get right at a match. It's all of those things, I think, for me. Um, some more than others. The funny thing I found lately is, at first it was just, you're making the videos. It's fun to put songs you like, and see if you can make a cool video, which is, I still find it fun. That's one of the things I do enjoy doing, to be honest. But but now that I know better, and I know the things that I'm doing wrong, and I can remember how they felt when I was actually shooting. Sometimes sometimes it gets harder to look back at your videos, because you're like, God, this is terrible. Like, why did I do this, or why did I do that, or that was where I shot that delta because I didn't let my gun settle. Um, it almost, it's still fun to post and do and whatnot, but knowing better, I think you find your own analysis, can make that, it can take some of the fun out of it. Now, when you're still posting and making your videos, what does your analysis look like when you come back from a match? I'm sure you're going to download all your videos from the big match over the weekend, and kind of do your own analysis. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I always take third person video. Obviously, I have my hat cam for first person, and then I'll use the competitor app as well. So that way I can really look at like the time chart, all that kind of stuff. And I'm really just I'm writing down my big takeaways. I'll either like write it pen and paper, or I'll have it, on the notes of my phone. Big things I struggled on, certain parts of the stage that were difficult for me, key areas where I lost like the big buckets of time, right? And usually those are pretty obvious. Usually I don't have to watch the footage a lot. But after that, I'm really fine tuning it. Like, how is I transitioning the gun? How are I coming into position here? Like, my technique stuff I'm looking at, because obviously I can't see myself in the third person. I'll also look like, where am I getting beat on this stage? So for example, like my hits were decent. I mean, I had two mics, and I know exactly why I did them. So those are more things where that isn't going to take much more training and planning. Like I know exactly what some of my lost points were from. My biggest bucket is where I lost a lot of time. I had 3 stages where my dot died on me in recoil, so I was shooting without a dot for 3 stages. I don't know how I didn't drop many points at all. I still shot good points on all of them. It was just I was splitting the gun super slow, relying on index, hoping that it was going to be there. Um, but other than that, like finding where am I losing my time to the top competitor? Where do I have room to improve? Like whether it be from stage planning, like did I cut out enough positions? Like how is my blending into here? I'll look at some of my transition times and compare to my videos, like from how I train. Like are my metrics really stacking up from how I'm shooting and training? Where am I losing my time on my transitions? Is it leaving the target off the trigger brake? Is it shooting as soon as my dot arrives? Am I trying to push the gun around before my head and eyes get there? How's my shooting on the move look? Like also knowing too, like how that felt when I was doing it and putting that into my technique. My entries, am I shooting immediately as soon as my gun clears the wall? Did I have my gun up? Looking at all those small details and compare. I look at the time chart a lot too, because that will give me like I can watch the video and also see like the timer metrics. But my biggest thing right now is I need to run the gun a lot more aggressive, not splitting the gun, but being a lot more efficient in my transitions, because that will also pick up the time spent in each position. I'll naturally being more aggressive, I'll be able to get in and out of positions sooner because I don't have to pause and wait for the shooting part a lot. My stage planning is pretty well right now. There's not many areas where I'd change in a lot of my plans. But I think to get to the next level, like just as someone that's in B class that wants to get to A class or the A class that wants to get to M, like you're going to have to run the gun more aggressively and find out where your inefficiencies are. I'm at that spot now where, obviously I'm shooting at about the 85% mark. I want to get up higher. Sometimes I can, but I want to be more consistently on a national level shooting at that before I go shoot my next meet or before I shoot nationals. So it's really just nerding out in the metrics. I mean, everyone does it different. I'll obviously look at key trends on areas I'm losing time, makeups on steel or, position entry if it's very specific or technical, like with a hard lean involved, or if I'm looking at transitions onto partials at hard targets. I find myself losing a decent amount of time when I have, large depth changes with targets, especially steel, or I wish I had a swinger so I could work on, some activation sequences. Don't have that yet, but I'll eventually probably have to get one. But yeah, it's tough to stay specific because I haven't looked. The major was yesterday. I haven't looked at my footage yet. But my biggest takeaway, especially after shooting the match, just off the top of my head that I struggle with is I have to be able to run the gun more aggressive and transition more efficiently. It's not so much of an effort game moving the gun from target to target as it is moving my feet more aggressively and my eyes more intently from target to target. I get off the target well, but a big thing is I don't even call it over confirming, but just being more aggressive with my eyes on the next target is where I'm finding I'm losing a good amount of time. The tough part when you get semi-decent at shooting is you're not looking for like 5+ seconds on a stage to lose. You're like, where can I drop 2/10 here? Where can I drop, on this position, I'm losing a quarter of a second, or from these targets, I'm losing 0.5 to 1/10. So it's much more of like a nerdy game of where to find time because, let's face it, when you're first starting out, or maybe if you're B class, it's like, we got to remember to do the plan how we wanted it to. And we have to do our gun handling so we're not like dropping mags or totally fumbling reloads, like big bucket things that can be avoided. Or like a stage plan that just makes no sense at all. Once you get past some of that stuff, you drop drastic buckets of time, or, not having the gun up coming in a position is like a very common thing. I see like newer shooters or even like semi decent shooters, they'll come in. I'm like, your gun is just all the way down. You've been staring at 10 points on a target for 2 seconds and you haven't shot it yet, kind of thing. Once those are out of the way, then it gets to just a different level of being able to analyze your stuff, because it's tough looking for a couple tenths here and there. On average, I'm down between like really, really top contenders, a second to 2 seconds per stage, somewhere in there. Sometimes less, obviously, but that's really like a max. And trying to find where I can shave off, 2 tenths, a quarter second, half a second per position is where I'm looking at.
No, that definitely makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's what I feel like right now too.
Go ahead, Sam.
I feel like, especially shooting that last match we just had right now, I was going through like just the stats and just looking at some of the times too. I'm like, I'm happy overall with how I shot it, right? Being the first major of the year, but like I can see where I need to really pick up things on. Like, I mean, Kyle did a great job, like, so the stages. There was a lot of blending on a lot of these stages and a lot of just continuous shooting. And I could shoot things on the move, but like I could have done it sooner and I would have shaved off like that 2 tenths or like that half second overall had I just done that. So like now I know, I mean, it's gonna be hard to practice it where I'm at, but like I'll find some space, or I'll go to a PA match and I'll just have to try it and just really work on that skill and see, like as you were saying, if we can just shave off that 2 tenths here and there and just that half second, and just get closer to that top of the pack. It's just more work to do. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it comes a point too where like I'm just trying to get better at shooting. I know that's like super simple, and I'll break that down a little bit more. But like, once you understand like a lot of the big ticket stuff, like stage planning, where to blend, like where to identify areas to like excel on the competing side. Like when you know how to like look at a stage, identify where you can save time, know you're going to execute it to a pretty decent level. Then it's like I just need to be a much better shooter now, so that way I can capitalize that on the stage. So that's why, like, especially if you listen to my podcast and you've heard like a lot of top guys, one thing they're always training, all of them, is they're all working on their fundamentals like all the time. Grip, vision, little positional stuff that they struggled with at the match. Like that is what 90+% of their training is. And it makes sense. Like if they're executing what their current level is all the time, how do you get better? You become better at shooting the gun. Because in my idea, shooting fundamentals is one thing. Competing at the match is also a skill, like actually knowing how to play the game of USPSA. Once you understand how to do that, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for everyone, but once you understand how to compete at a high level at a match, how to stage plan, how to execute that properly, the mental side of the game, risk versus reward on certain target sequences, it really comes down to how good of a shooter are you on demand. Because you can have the best stage plan in the world, you can execute it great, but someone else that's just more talented or better at the fundamentals of shooting with transitions and their grip and all that, they're just going to beat you if they have the same plan, same execution, they don't have big mistakes. So once you get to like competing at a higher level, no one's making very drastic mistakes often. Everyone's executing their plan how they want to at a high level. There's not like, oh, I'm shooting with my buddy and he forgot to load his mag all the way, or like he really screwed up his draw, or he ran past the target, or he like forgot his reload. Like you get to a point you're not having any free matches like that. No one's having drastic mistakes. So it comes to a point where it's like, I have to be better at shooting this gun than the next guy because we're all going to compete well. So the next level for me is really getting my fundamentals just locked in at a much faster pace. So that way it allows me to move more aggressively, to go in and out of positions quicker. So that way I can really gain distance to the last target at a faster pace, which ultimately stops the timer.
Awesome. Yeah,
I mean, I agree, man.
yeah, 100%. The fundamentals, even our pod with Rob, he talked about how often he reworks his grip and how often he's assessing his grip, and that made me feel good because I feel like every week I'm like, is this the grip that worked last week? Is this still what we're going with? Uh, getting the right feel, having a grow and dry fire, and like you said, confirming and live fire are definitely are the things that ultimately are going to carry you in the end, because the fundamental, shooting the gun is shooting the gun. The fundamentals are going to be what they are. I think, I taught when me and Sammy both do new shooter courses, and where we have new shooters out on the range trying USPSA, their first few matches or their first few practices before they, try monthlies and things of that. I always tell them, I'm like, don't. I was like, when you see me or you see one of the guys that's better than me doing their stage plan and it's a little bit nuts, like don't. I was like, your bread and butter is going to be picking a plan that you can complete efficiently and trying to do it as best you can perfectly. If you can execute your plan perfectly, it's way better than messing up somebody else's plan that you couldn't remember, or that you're not going to be that you don't have the skills to complete yet. And you mentioned that like 20 minutes ago, some guys come up with a plan for a skill that they've been training. One of my buddies, he's great at his long shots, executing them quickly, shooting steel, quicker on the move. I'm not there yet. And so my stage plan plays to my strength. And still, if I execute my stage plans that work to my strengths, if I execute it the way that I meant to, or at least as close as I can, it's still some of it comes out in the wash, because if I did what I meant to do properly, it ends up being a good stage for me. So um, I think there's so many ways to skin this cat. One of my favorite things at matches is seeing three or four guys take a stage and do it completely different and end up with almost the exact same time. It just goes to show how, there's a lot of ways to do this thing. None of them are wrong. None of them are right. You getting at the end of the day, if you can get it done, and get that, high hit factor, good time, you accomplish the mission.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, also, I look at it a couple different ways too. It depends what you want to use your local matches for. If your local matches are like, that's where I want to perform really well and beat all my friends, yeah, definitely plan to your strengths. If you're looking to try new things, excel, like if you don't have match props to go set up stuff at your training sessions, I would try and run the quote unquote GM stage plan. I don't know what you'd really call a GM stage plan, but I would try and do the best stage plan that you think is actually going to win.
Mhm.
Sure, it might not go as well as if you just went really comfortable, hit factor wise, but I think you can learn a ton at what you need to get to and what you need to start training more when you push yourself. The biggest thing is you got to be okay with failing. I shoot a lot of local matches, and people that would probably never beat me at a major are gonna beat me at a local, and that's okay. Like, good for them. I'm
Yeah,
happy for them. But if you don't ever try it, how do you know you can't do it? And that's one thing I
agreed.
look at too. A lot of people are like, I see that guy's a way better shooter. I'm not going to do that plan. That looks too hard. But the way I look at it is like, how long are you gonna keep telling yourself you can't do it until you just go out and do it? and then you realize, oh, that part went really bad, or it didn't, and you crushed it. But regardless, you're going to know I should probably be working on this because I'm not good at it, or maybe it made me really uncomfortable when I did it, and I don't want to feel like that when it comes major time. But like you said, it depends what your goals are with your local match. If your local match is like, this is, it's time to make my friends, feel bad about themselves when they go to work on Monday, then do play your strengths. But if you're looking to like really push to the next level, I'd say, donate a couple local matches to push into that next level and see where it goes. I think you'll learn a lot.
No, agreed. I
I think it
I
was
mean,
Castro who said it first.
go ahead, Sammy.
I think it was I think I heard Tom Castro say that once, and it just really resonated with me that locals are where you should be practicing, especially if you don't have the ability to go. Like, I don't have. I mean, I have some ability to go like practice, but especially now that I'm trying to work actively towards that. But before, most of my live fire reps were always in matches, right? So like I would have to try and have to apply skills at these locals. And you're right, like you should be okay with not always winning. You learn more from failure than you do a win. So like I'm happy,
Yeah.
I'm happy I did well this weekend, but like I didn't win. So I know where I have to obviously keep on applying the work for. But had I won it, I've been like, oh, I'm good, you know what I mean? But it's not really the case.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it all depends what you want out of it, and it also depends like what are you able to train. Like, I'm lucky I have full match props. I set up a stage every week, and I just leave it all up so club members can go train. Not everyone has that, so I know a lot of people that just don't shoot local matches at all, and all they do is train. Really, really good shooters. So it depends. Like if all you can do is local matches, that's what you got, and you gotta make it work. I'll also say too, like this isn't obviously directed towards you guys at all, but there's a lot of people that will be like, I can't afford to live fire, but then you'll see them shoot like 2 matches a week or something like that. I will say from experience, you will get a lot more out of like shooting 2 matches a month. Unless you're very, very new, go shoot a bunch of matches if you're like just starting. You're like figure it out, like as far as how to play the game. But if you're a little bit more experienced and you're at that point where it's like I'm just trying to wing it, or not wing it, but swing it at a match and see how it goes at the end. I think there's a lot of shooters in that like they're either like high B class, A class, and they like want to get to M, but a lot of fundamental skills I think are holding them back. Until you go address a lot of those weaknesses in practice, like structured live fire, you're not getting enough reps of them or trying to figure them out when it's come match time. So that way you've reached the next level on demand. I think this is an expensive sport. Unfortunately, it's not like, let me go find a basketball on a free court that's, in town that I can just go shoot on. I'm sure there's more to it that are people that are better at basketball, but for the shooting sport is expensive. Like no local match is free unless you're well, even if you got to pay for your own ammo. To go train, like membership is expensive, right? Like ammo is expensive. But the biggest thing is where are you putting those funds? Because I'm sure we all know people that shoot 4+ matches a month that don't live fire train. And you could probably take the $25 match fee plus the 150 rounds you shot and make that a 200 round live fire session and shoot 2 matches a month and 2 live fire sessions a month, or 3 live fire sessions a month. And I'm telling you, they would be much better shooters for it, because then a lot of these people know exactly what they need to do to get better. Like you can go ask a lot of these people, like, what do you think you need to work on? My grip wasn't that good, or my transitions are really slow, or like my entries are holding me back a lot, but they've never trained them. They rely on the local match of just, hitting it, doing good once, and they're like, oh, it's figured out. And then you go to a major and get humbled, which I've done many times. So it's really, I mean, going back to the fundamentals, there's really no getting around consistent dry fire and reps in live. That's where the majority of your practice should come from, is either dry fire or live fire on the range. The local match is great to really like test things and also practice. Like, oh, those new things I learned in practice, let's really push them and practice my execution of them at the local match. Or if you have a big major coming up and say it's an IPSC match, like you should probably just go shoot your local, like an IPSC match, something along those lines. So, and that kind of goes back to our conversation talking about the strong hand only. What do you do? Show all your local strong hand only in preparation? You should probably be dry firing it and live firing it on the range. Like stuff like that. We laugh about it. It's obvious, but I think there is the vast majority of shooters in this sport holding themselves back because they're not prioritizing training because local matches are fun. I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying I think they'd be a very better shooter if they allocated those funds, same funds they're already spending, to a 200 round session once a week or a couple times a month.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, my first year, there was a match every weekend, or there was three weekends a month. There was a match, and I shot every single one of them. But we also had a Tuesday practice match 3-stager, a Wednesday practice match 3-stager, and a Thursday match 3-stager. I was trying to figure it out, and the way that I figured that I was going to understand it better and figure it out was to shoot them all. I think I shot 100 events last year, trying to figure that out. I think over the winter and early this year, I really started to understand, like, I just have to go spend some time with me and the targets, working those fundamentals, which I did some of that last year still too, but 100% you and the target working that specific skill, working on shooting, working on those transitionings. My wide transitions were the thing that bothered me the most, that I needed to work, was being able to go across the stage to the other and stop on the target instead of overrunning it. Tom's class and his dry fire routines helped me actually a lot with that, getting my eyes there first, taking the gun there and being able to stop and start shooting as soon as I got there. But yeah, man, the matches are an amalgam of all of the skills being put together. So if individually the skills are poor, when they come together, they're not going to be great. But I agree. I mean, the matches are fun, practices are fun. But when I'm with the guys, sure, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna try to outscore each other. But when I sign up with the better shooters, when I sign up with the GMs and the M shooters, I definitely I try to do everything that they do so that I can figure out what I'm missing or where I'm losing time, or I typically, they don't mind. I record their runs so I can go home and do a side by side and say, okay, this is what they're doing, this is what I'm not doing correctly, and I find that to be super helpful in building my training schedule for the next few weeks, figuring out, here's what I need to, I learned from one of my guys that when you go into the range to practice for this specifically, have a plan, have a structure of things that you're going to work on, the reps you're going to get. So also you're not taking what could be an hour and a half or 2 hour range session with efficient use of ammo to sitting out there all day spraying bullets. But Matt, I think
I mean, I'm
getting.
not throwing hate on people that want to shoot local matches at all, but it's usually the people that are complaining about not being able to train. It's usually a financial thing, which I'm not hating on either. But it's all about where you prioritize it. If you could train a bunch and shoot a bunch of local matches and dry fire, that's probably the best way to do it. I can't do that, but I'm sure someone can. It's all what you want out of it. That's it. Because most people know exactly what they need to work on.
Yeah. The bills still got to get paid at home, and you got people that love you got to take care of. So it can't all be shooting all the time.
That's right.
So, but guys, I could talk to you all night. I had a lot of fun in this conversation. Matt, give the folks a 30-second rundown on your tips and tidbits for being great.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is consistency, right? Like, you can't only train when you want to, which kind of sucks. But if you want to get good, dry firing every day, live firing multiple times a week, and more importantly, get a coach or a mentor. I mean, I was very lucky that I found Angel literally at my first match. But the people that succeed quickly don't do it on their own most of the time. Find a local guy that you're around that's really good. Get coaching, go take a class. That's really going to excel. The way I look at it is if I can take this person's class and spend that money, will I get better faster than if I took that money and just bought what it's worth in ammo? Chances are that person's going to excel me, with the $300 faster than 1,000 rounds of me trying to figure it out on my own would be. So, consistent dry fire training and being intentional and focused, I've found from talking to a lot of high level guys, is the separating factor. Like, you'll talk to someone like Christian, I guarantee people are dry firing more than him, longer than him. I guarantee they're shooting more rounds a year than him, shooting more matches, but somehow he's the best shooter in the world. The biggest separating factor is there's no one more focused and intentional in his training. So that's the biggest thing. A lot of people are like, they want to check the box, right? Oh, I dry fired my 20 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever today. I'm good. I got my 1% better. But in reality, just checking the box is not good enough if you want to get good fast. It's being intentional, knowing what you need to work on, and getting after it. Live firing is also the fastest way to waste all your money as well. If you're not focused and intentional, you can go to the range and have fun and blast it all off and spend a bunch of money. But if you're not going to be focused and intentional with your training, that's where the real success happens. At least that's what I found that works for me. And also from talking to a lot of high level shooters, the consistent thing that when I ask them what they did to get better is they are so much more focused than really anyone else. Is they're intentional with every single rep that they do and super in tuned with their training. So I think that's the secret. The secret to get better is being more focused and intentional. It's not so much volume, but quality in your training.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Matt. I appreciate you coming on for episode 7. I appreciate your time. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, man,
We'll have
thank
to
you
do
for
it
coming
again.
on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll be in touch. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy.